It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Wednesday, the 29th of October. I'm Michael Groff. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Dry conditions, temperatures above average for the rest of the week and heading into the weekend. One change to our forecast for today, though. Rather windy conditions expected over a good portion of Arizona, but especially east of the valley, where we could see some gusts over eastern Maricopa, northern Pinal, parts of Gila County to around 40 to 50 miles per hour. Elsewhere, widespread winds 15 to 25, some gusts into the 30s for the Colorado River Valley. And naturally, when we have windy conditions and it's been dry for a little while here across the state, that means an increased risk of blowing dust. So be aware of that. When might this weather pattern begin to change? When are we going to see the cooler temperatures, some rain chances coming back into the forecast? Are there any indications that that will happen? We'll talk about that plus everything else as we dive on in and discuss. First, let's take a look at that almanac from yesterday. If it felt warm out there on your Tuesday, that's because it was 92 degrees, the afternoon high officially in Phoenix, after a morning low of 64. 85 and 61 are the averages for this time of year. As we take a look outside right now at this absolutely hilariously early hour of 5 a.m. Yeah, who would be up at this time? Well, me, I guess, and that's about it. Clear sky. Oh, the one and only Michelle is awake as well, our executive producer, because we have to have a producer for this show, believe it or not. 66 degrees officially at Sky Harbor, dew points at 34, humidity 30%. For the moment, the wind is calm and the barometer is steady. Let's check the satellite picture out here across the west, and it sure doesn't look like there's anything going on, right? You've got some high clouds streaming into the Pacific Northwest. We've got a trough approaching there. Here in the southwest, you can't really see it. There is a weak cold front. I even hesitate to call it a cold front, a weak frontal boundary that is stretched out across the state. And along that boundary, the pressure gradient will be tighter today. And so as a result, we will see some breezy to windy conditions, especially east of the valley, east central Arizona. Again, those wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. But other than that, conditions will remain very dry around here. All right, the watch warning map. We've got, speaking of wind, a lot of that for the southern and central plain states into parts of the southeast and the Gulf Coast. Some red flag warnings in South Texas, and those are issued when you have the dry conditions, the low humidity, the warm temperatures. The conditions are set for wildfires. Elsewhere, just wind advisories. Houston, Dallas, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Little Rock, up toward Topeka, Kansas City, and down toward, again, the Gulf Coast. Behind all that, we've got freeze warnings across West Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and even into northeast Arizona. We've got some freeze warnings and freeze watches in parts of southeast Arizona. 'Tis the season, after all. We are starting to finally see those cooler temperatures, and with the drier air coming in with that boundary today and tonight, certainly those temperatures are going to get quite a bit cooler, at least over the higher terrain of Arizona, that's for sure. Now, elsewhere, we do have those hurricane warnings still up for the Bahamas and over toward eastern Cuba in association with Melissa, which we'll, of course, talk about in just a moment. The convective outlook for today, we've got that low-end marginal risk for severe storms, level 1 out of 5 for the Outer Banks of North Carolina up toward Virginia Beach. But elsewhere, it's pretty quiet around the nation. The tropics, well, there's Melissa, which was an absolute monster as it came ashore, as it rolled on and made landfall into Jamaica yesterday. 185 mile per hour winds at the time of landfall. Catastrophic damage. We have seen some videos, but not a lot as of yet. When we've seen a lot of AI videos, unfortunately, it's kind of unfortunate that people would take that opportunity to engagement farm and post some AI slop and AI videos surrounding that, but we see that in the weather world a lot, don't we? It transcends all media, but it's just sad that people would do that in such a situation where people really do want information. There's millions of people that live in Jamaica. And so the latest on what's going on with Melissa, it's still a Category 3 hurricane now crossing over eastern Cuba, heading up toward the Bahamas. Now, you can't really see much of a discernible eye on this now. It's kind of closed up, but this was a monstrous eye yesterday, kind of reformed a little bit after it crossed Jamaica, and now it's kind of closed up again. And the system is spreading out a bit more. The wind fields are spreading out a bit as it's weakening. We'll put this satellite into motion. You can kind of see how this has played out over the last 21 hours or so. And there goes that eye as it came ashore in eastern Cuba again. And now it's headed up toward the eastern Bahamas, ultimately up toward Bermuda. Let me show you the latest National Hurricane Center advisory on this. Top winds 115 miles per hour. This is still a Category 3 storm. It should continue to weaken. We expect this to be about a Category 1 by the time it gets very close to Bermuda. Direct landfall possible. Maybe it'll cross just barely to the west. Either way, hurricane conditions will be likely there late Thursday as this passes on by. But it is going to be accelerating. And as it does, it will also be weakening, being ripped apart and kind of become sort of a cold core system as it heads into the North Atlantic. This, again, not impacting the United States. All right, the precipitation outlook valid through Wednesday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix, nothing. Statewide, nothing. Region-wide, nothing. Why is that? Because the main storm track is far to the north of us. When might that change? We'll talk about it right now as we get to the models, have a look at things, see what the future may hold. Here we go. This is the GFS, the 06Z run, and this is valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. The upper look at 500 millibars. That's about 18,000 feet up. Big trough over the southeast U.S., and that's brought plenty of rain to Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, North Florida. And that system is responsible for helping to scoop up Melissa and eject her off to the northeast and keep that system away from the east coast of the United States. So that's good news and very cool temperatures down there. Now, out here in the west, we've got a ridge of high pressure. The heights are above average, so what it means down at the surface for the rest of the day today, sunny but windy. Now, I say high pressure is in control, but we do have this surface boundary that's kind of draped across the state today. And so along that, we'll see the tighter pressure gradients, so some windy conditions, as mentioned. Here in Phoenix, we'll see winds anywhere from about 15 to 25, maybe a gust to 30. A good day to go fly a kite. It'll be a kite day. We love those. But elsewhere, kind of just downright windy with 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts over toward Apache Junction, up toward Tortilla Flat, maybe over to around Globe. We could see some wind gusts to around 40 miles per hour. Pumpkin Center, those places could certainly see some gusty winds. Further up toward Payson and Pine and Strawberry, winds will be a little less so up there, but still could see some local gusts to around 30. Further north up toward Flagstaff, winds anywhere from about 12 to 20 miles per hour, and an occasional higher gust is possible. The lower Colorado River Valley, you'll see some wind gusts maybe over 30 miles per hour at times today, and southeast Arizona, some locally gusty winds, which again could lead to some blowing dust. So do bear that in mind. Otherwise, in Phoenix today, upper 80s for the high to around 90 degrees. For tonight, clear sky, the winds will die down. Overnight lows will mainly be in the mid-50s to mid-60s. And then for tomorrow, it's more the same, although with less wind, a light breeze at times. High temperatures will top out into the mid and upper 80s. Halloween, it's the same story. Yeah, there's going to be a few passing clouds. Call it partly cloudy in Phoenix. But other than that, high temperatures, again, mid to upper 80s. And that is certainly above average, but nowhere near record territory. The record high in Phoenix on Halloween is 96 degrees. And, we should stay well shy of that. And that's kind of how the forecast is going to go for the rest of this period anyway. High temperatures, mid to upper 80s on Saturday, a little warmer on Sunday, upper 80s and low 90s. The sky remains sunny. The air is dry. High pressure is in control. A westerly flow continues. And while the afternoons will be quite warm and above average, they will still remain anywhere from about 3 to 7 degrees shy of records for this time of year, about 10 degrees above seasonal averages at the peak of this. Same thing on Monday. Highs upper 80s and low 90s in Phoenix, mainly in the 60s and 70s in the high country. So still warm afternoons, nice, pleasantly cool overnights. That's how it's going to continue to roll here. And we'll see that as we go to next Tuesday as well. All right, a week from today, this is Wednesday, the 5th of November. Again, high pressure is in control, and we see no sign of that really changing. Look at that impressive trough, that upper low out there over the Northeast Pacific, off the Pacific Northwest coast. but that probably isn't going to have a whole lot of bearing on our weather. This is Thursday, the 6th. Again, high pressure is the dominant feature. We've seen some runs where some sort of weak wave has come on through at some point, bringing a few clouds, but even that scenario wouldn't really cool us down much. So temperatures would remain above average here. Highs likely somewhere in the mid 80s to low 90s. Now let's keep it going. This is out 10 days. Friday the 7th. And now we see evidence of a trough passing through the Intermountain West and the Northern Plains. The heights come down a little bit, but still, it is going to be warm. Temperatures above average, dry conditions to continue. It's a stuck record. For those of you younger in this audience, a record. Well, that was a media form that we used before CDs. There were these vinyl things. Anyway, whatever. The bottom line is this pattern is not changing very much. All right. Looking at rainfall for Phoenix off the GFS ensemble. This goes all the way out through the 12th of November. And if this is correct, yeah, basically nothing. The ensemble mean is practically zero. You've got 4 members that show rain out there well beyond 10 days. European ensemble, 51 members, hardly any. Just a few show some measurable rain. Again, way out beyond 10 days. The ensemble mean basically zero. Euro AI, same story, basically nothing. All right, looking at temperatures off the national blend of models. Look, I realize these are warmer than where they should be for this time of year. I get it. Highs mid 80s to low 90s every single day through the first week of November and probably a bit beyond that. But the overnight lows are nice, and it's just one of those situations where a few hours of the day are a little hot out in the sun. Then once the sun goes down, it turns pleasantly cool. You can sit out on the patio if you want to have dinner out at a restaurant. Enjoy it. Enjoy it, because elsewhere in the country, some spots are going to be going into the deep freeze at some point. So, we'll take this over shoveling 1 or 2 feet of snow. All right, or slipping on the ice, which the only time I've ever slipped on the ice in my life that I can recall was actually here in Phoenix, and that was back on New Year's Day 2011. And that's just one of those you don't forget. I was going to cash a lottery ticket that day, and yes, how I got a few scratcher tickets for Christmas. I went to cash those in, and wouldn't you know it, the irony of life, right? Alanis Morissette couldn't have written a better lyric. You go to cash a lottery ticket, you slip on the ice in Phoenix on New Year's Day. It was 42 degrees at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and that was more funny than it was painful, though. All right, let's look at temperatures here from the CPC outlook for the 8 to 14 day period. Story time with Mike. You got to love it. November 5th through the 11th. If this works out, temperatures not only here in Arizona, but across most of the nation will be skewed heavily. The probability is heavily skewed toward above average temperatures, except for the East Coast, and below average precipitation for at least a fair portion of the nation, especially, though, here from West Texas through New Mexico, parts of Arizona. Below average precipitation. That is not a fun combo. Above average temperatures, below average precipitation. But I do stress to you, at some point, we will see this pattern flip. It's just a matter of when. All right, that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning, should you happen to enjoy these videos. And of course you do. Why else would you be here if you didn't? Be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you really enjoy these videos and you want to help us out, support the channel, well, by all means, I encourage you to do so. Click that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube. Make a contribution to us that way. Or via PayPal, groffshow@gmail.com is our PayPal address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal. Our Venmo, that's also linked up down in the description, so take advantage of that. Again, it really does help us out. We really do appreciate that. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona, talking about my Michelle. Check her out. Blogs, videos, everything Michelle related, Kylie related, and yes, of course, Adriana related. It is all linked up down in the description below, so check all of that out. Our streaming station available 24/7. 365. It's called KMGX. We play a ton of music, have a lot of fun with that. Some sounds of the West Valley outside. I don't think you can hear those on the microphone, but there you go. A parade of sirens. So do check that out, our streaming station. Again, all linked up in the description. And more importantly than any of that, I say this for a good reason. You'll check it out in a moment. But check out Dan over at the Courtroom Files YouTube channel, The Courtroom Files on YouTube, courtroomfiles.com for all your Courtroom Files merch. It's Dan's birthday today. Happy birthday to Dan. And my voice has not woken up yet. I'm sorry. Happy birthday to Dan and everybody at the Courtroom Files. Great time over there. And I, of course, mentioned the Courtroom Files YouTube channel because very, very shortly, again, I'll be over there hosting the live show, 10 a.m. East, 7 a.m. Pacific. And you can see me, and we'll be doing the live court hopping stuff over there. And it's a great time. It's fun. If you haven't checked this out yet, do so. I'm filling in, and who knows what will break today. We lost a monitor. If you didn't see the live show yesterday, the monitor that sits over here to my right, it broke yesterday. We won't get into how that happened. I assure you it did not have anything to do with the cat. I can't blame the cat for this one. We just won't discuss it, but we've replaced the equipment, so everything should be okay. All right. Anyway, check that out, and that should be exciting. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. You never know what's going to happen when you're live. All of your continued support, it is so greatly appreciated. Please, I want you to be safe. Stay cool, stay hydrated out there, and have yourselves a beautiful rest of your Wednesday.